Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Marvel Legends Hasbro Pulse exclusive Marvel's Mephisto with his giant turdy chair. And I have to do a big shout out, huge shout out, because I did not buy this. I refused to pay what they were asking for this thing, but my buddy Laser Pants, 3POA Podcast, he sent this to me. He's not giving it to me, I'm just borrowing it, it's his, but before he even looked at it, he sent it to me so that I could review it. So huge shout out, I very much appreciate that. Without that gesture of kindness, we wouldn't be able to do this. It's not going to be a gesture of kindness. Oh boy, but yeah, thanks to him for that. But this figure, $80, supposedly made to order, if I'm correct, and I can't tell anymore because none of their made to order things stop being available. There's not that many people canceling them, guys, that they are just available for months on end after the fact. These are not made to order, okay? That is just a gimmick, which is fine, I guess, but you need to be realistic about it. It's still available as of the time of filming. You just go buy it on Hasbro Pulse if you want it. I don't recommend it, though. Okay, there's a lot to talk about here, so let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before we look at the figure, I do want to show you my package, and boy, is it a big one. But for an $80 release, I would have expected a window. They couldn't do a window because of the throne. It would have been ugly and not good, but they could have at least done like a window on the side or something. Because displaying this, I mean, I don't think they're going to want to do that. It doesn't look very good. This isn't even a render, by the way, unless it's some kind of new crazy render where it's too glossy and they show pins on the Paint Master or Proto, some version of not being done developing yet. So that's, the box, I think, like, it's cool almost, but then also it doesn't make any sense. Whatever. Okay, there's the artwork, which we can use to judge this guy, because as far as I can tell, this is the closest thing. This is the closest artwork to the figure. The figure doesn't match this at all. We'll just put it right out there. But there's tons of different versions of Mephisto. I don't know how you guys pronounce his name. Is it Mephisto? Some people, a lot of people were angry last time I did a video about this guy because I said Mephisto. It's Mephisto, I guess. Fine, who gives a crap? It's not a real person. Not exactly flattering artwork here. Okay, so there's a box. Let's move on. Let's move on to the good stuff. The nitty-gritty $80 Marvel Legends figure that probably 20 years ago would have been just a standard retail release, not counting the throne. So let's just keep that in mind. This is not how he comes in the package, by the way. You have to adorn him with a cape, and I chose to do cloth because I know that's going to be a lot of people's argument for why he's so expensive. Alright, let's do some height measurements. Let's get it started. He stands, we're not going to count his hair, because we never do for scale purposes, about 7 1/4 inches to the top of his skull. That's going to make him roughly 18.5 centimeters. Here he is up against Darwin, which is the standard height of Marvel Legends. Now, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Not wrong, I guess. You can add some information to this. I looked it up. He's supposed to be 6'6". That's about what Darwin should be. Not actual Darwin, because he's supposed to be tall and skinny, but this figure should be about the equivalent of 6'6" in Marvel Legends. Like, very close anyway. So he's a whole head taller. Does he change shape and size? Common? Is that a common thing in the comics? I don't know. The whole magic side of Marvel, I could not be less interested in. So you guys can let me know about that. But he seems to me to be way too tall. Okay? So there's that. And if you guys watched my video back when this guy first got announced, I made a whole video talking about what I thought was wrong with this and why I wasn't going to buy it. And I'm guessing, I haven't gone back to check, but I'm guessing everything I said is what I'm going to say here. You guys can let me know if you remember. The head, too big for the body, and way too dark. In almost literally every image of this guy on the internet, which is not all of the images, of course, but it's a lot of them, his head is at least the same color as his body. Quite often it's lighter. Even if it's the same color, it often has less shading in it so that it stands out from all of the other red. Sometimes it's pink, but that's not this version, so that's fine. His head is dark. It looks freaking weird. It looks like he's wearing a Halloween mask on top of his red body, which is not what it's supposed to look like, so that's a bummer. But let's get into the aesthetic, because that's clearly what we're already talking about. There's something good about this figure, which is there's shading throughout the skin tones, which from a distance looks fine. If you get up close, you can see the dots. It is clearly some sort of digital tampography. The digital printing is common these days. you're not going to be able to see it on camera probably, but you can up close. So if you're doing like super tight photography, that may be an issue for you. But be aware of that. It does look nice, generally speaking, except his face is dark. They shaded his face and highlighted the rest of him. It looks weird. It looks super weird. The wraps on his arms got no paint, so those look super cheap. His boots down here also not exactly as ominous looking as they might look in the comics, and also no paint. So be aware of that. Really, we have the black shading on the face and the light shading on the body. And is there in the hair? I don't think there's any shading in the hair. I don't think there's any shading in the hair. It looks like it because it has really deep sculpt. So I thought there was like low lights, but I don't think so. If you crank up the camera, yeah, I don't see any shading in there. So no shading in the hair. All right, I will say this is the alternate head. I think it's a good sculpt. It's too big and they shaded it poorly, but I think it's a good sculpt. I like that one. It suits him. Oh, there's paint there. Little bad paint job there. Okay, so the core figure, so far not exactly the most impressive thing. They painted his fingernails, so that's nice. Let's make it not so dark. Let's talk about the soft goods, because I know so many people are going to say the soft goods justify the price. Except for the fact that Todd's been throwing soft goods on everything lately at a way cheaper price. Like basically the soft goods don't cost anything, it seems. So there's that. These don't have any wires in them. They do have the texture on them, which I think is cool. Like it's nice that they added something to make it look better. That's a good thing, but no wiring at all, no texture on the back at all, and no paint or anything. So it does look, it's fine. It is just fine. I wouldn't say it's a huge selling point. It's only good for him sitting in the throne, because if you're going to have him standing, or like posed, not having wires means this is kind of worthless, and at least the two other capes, which we'll talk about not only as accessories. These are probably better because sculpted stuff looks better than dangly cloth that doesn't really do anything. Like that's way more dynamic looking for his loincloth. It has no paint on it, which makes it look like crap. Same thing here, except for this, which also looks like crap. And you guessed it, it's not on the back. So they put like the most minimal amount of effort, the tiniest amount of effort, you might say, the smallest amount of effort into making this $80 Marvel Legends figure. So I'm going to debunk all of the benefits of the body first, and then we'll talk about the throne. All right, so it's a cape. It's a loincloth. It's nice that we have interchangeable pieces. Does that bump the price significantly? I would argue it shouldn't. Like maybe $1 or $2, because they would have these anyway. This has the cloth to plastic. So does a lot of the McFarlane stuff. It can't cost that much. It can't. It is impossible to cost that much. NECA's been doing capes with textures on them for a long time. It can't cost that much. Okay, so that's all of the obvious aesthetic stuff. Let's talk about the sculpt on this guy. There's one key thing that bothers me, because he is drawn to be slender most of the time, but he's not drawn to look like a little baby alien. And his torso looks weird. The way they sculpted this part so tubular with the abs very far forward, he almost looks like an insect or something. And he doesn't. He just looks like a human in the comics. I mean, like an exaggerated human, but still. But they gave him this really narrow, like tubular torso, abdomen section, and then the cut here, it just looks like one of their old, what were they called? The small 3 3/4 inch Marvel Legends. What were they called? Marvel Universe, I think. The cut just doesn't help the look of it at all. They didn't try to sculpt him to look organic, which is not unusual for Marvel Legends, but it's still a thing. He looks rather gangly and weird in the midsection with a giant head that's the wrong color. It's just freaking unappealing. And I know many of you want this just because of the character. That's fine. If that's the case, then the review doesn't even matter to you because you just wanted it for the character. I'm reviewing it as if it's just a regular figure that people aren't buying because of the character, because that's what reviews are for. Okay, so aesthetically speaking, for a normal Marvel Legends price point, sure, 7 or 8 or 9 out of 10, like it's fine. But for $80 freaking $80, I can't make my voice sound weird enough to justify that price. It's crazy. $80. The throne's not enough. We'll get to it, but $80. The core figure has to be the shining part of the purchase. Nah, it's not even close. So for $80, I'll give the main figure aesthetic a 5 out of 10, and I think that's being generous. Okay, now let's talk about the accessories. We do have 2 heads. I showed you the good head, not the one that comes on him. I guess some people might like this one, but to me, it looks like impish and weird because it's like squashed. It's short and fat. And I couldn't find any images that go with this look in particular, so maybe it's a thing you can let me know, but I think it looks goofy. The other one I think is a really nice version. I don't think this one looks good at all, and his ears are connected in a weird way. I guess they both are. I just don't think it looks good. You tell me, but I think that doesn't remind me of Mephisto. To me, it just looks like generic guy making a face. Okay. And then for hands, we get the 2 open hands, we get the 2 gripping hands. I'll give them this. The gripping hands have vertical hinges. That's nice. Okay, other accessories. Since we're not talking about the capes, we already did that. We get half a skull, which is fine. Looks alright. Looks okay. And then we get his sword, which is also pretty nice. That's fine too. It's a pretty good sword. For Marvel Legends standards, it's a good sword. No real issues there. That's a good accessory. So far, we're just on par for Marvel Legends accessories, though. Like, we've seen this amount of accessories before. So let's talk about the throne. The throne is the thing for this whole situation. First, I'll show you this. This is the one thing I want to point out. This is a nice feature, but everybody already saw it in the solicitation photos. You can stick the sword in there, and yeah, it looks cool. No doubt about it. I will say, by the way, you need to know this. Like I said, this is not mine. I am borrowing it, so I'm not pegging this in because I'm almost sure that if I peg those things into those holes, they're not coming out. And I don't want to do that to my buddy Ryan. I want to leave it so that I can put it back in the package for him to open. So you will have to just pretend that there's not a seam there. Okay, I think you guys can manage that. So let's talk about the throne. Does the throne make up for the $80? Let's say Mephisto's worth $30. Let's even be generous and say $35. Does the throne make up $45 worth of value? And I will argue in favor of the throne if they did a good job. Sure, it's big enough, it's going to cost something to make, so sure, whatever, big things are expensive, so I've been told. I don't think they did that. Like, it just looks terrible. There's more paint on it than there could have been. Like, Hasbro's known for not painting, but it's mostly garbage. It's mostly terrible. The skulls look okay. Like, they just look like skulls. And then this part is just a wash. This whole area down here, this whole area up here, let me brighten it up. It's just a wash. Everything is this like terracotta mud clay color. And this isn't painted at all, which clearly should be something different. Like whatever this vine or tentacle or whatever the hell that's supposed to be, that clearly should be something different. But it's not. Like, they didn't paint it at all. And on top of that, there's a transition of right here, this flat, this like bottom part has a wash to it, and then nothing here. It's super obvious in real life. I don't know if you guys can tell, if it's obvious for you guys, but the transition of washed here to nothing all over the entire side here, it's just so garbage. Look at this. There's stuff. There's stuff. Oops, too bright. There's stuff going on over here, and it's just none of it. None of it is painted. There's a jaw here. This is like a cool piece. There's a piece of jaw. Clearly some kind of like dragon-y type jaw. I don't know. They couldn't even be, I'll say arsed, that's a British term, to paint almost any of it. There's just a little bit of airbrushing across the tips. Just the tips. And then nothing here, nothing here. Even these spikes up here. Almost no paint. And it's not just that it should be shaded. No, look. The sculpt has a hard sculpt. There is clearly like a tooth with a gum sort of situation, or a claw with whatever you call the part the claw comes out of. No, they didn't paint it up to that. They just painted it barely, and then did a piss poor job of painting this greenish gray thing on there. It's really abysmal. They painted the seat, but not the back. Now the back would be covered by the figure, presumably, so fine, I guess, for this area only. On this side, nothing is painted again. Nothing. Not even this guy. No paint at all on this, even though it's like the same thing as right here. It's front and... well, not center, but it's not painted. Up here. What is that? There's a little spot of wash just right here. Not across the whole horn. Not across the skull. It's right there. There's a little one right here. And then there's one on the forehead. A circular wash mark on the forehead. Thankfully, they painted the tendrils again, these things. Not well, but they did. And then this is all unpainted. So the back part is the best part of this, and it's still not good enough. This half-ass paint job where wash, no wash, the same tendrily thing going along here just goes from a little bit of a wash on it to nothing, and it's all over the mouth. So they didn't put any effort into it. There's a chain here. Okay, that's cool. Let's pop some silver in there, make it look nice. You can see the silver back here. It's pretty well painted. And then it's just barely any paint on here either. It's like they took a dry brush and just went boop like that and didn't put any effort into it. It's crazy to me how poorly they did this. More of this gray-green stuff totally missed the mark. And it's like, okay, it's not a bonus accessory if it costs $45 freaking dollars. And if they can't do it for that price, if they can't hit their profit margins, then just don't do it. Because it's not... They didn't paint the chain. I didn't even see that part before. It's hard to see the details because it's all clay brown. And then we have like a centipede type thing going on over here. That's maybe the best paint job on this entire thing. One small spot in the corner on the back, next to the chain that's not painted. So no, guys. No. Absolutely freaking no way is this worth the extra $45. Frankly, the figure would look better without it. Because this is just the worst paint job I think I've ever seen. You can go to the dollar store and buy dog toys or kids' squishy toys and things, which maybe they're the same thing, I don't know. For basically the same thing, or basically the same level of quality. It's just nuts to me that there's no way. This is not, no. Maybe, granted, I think with this paint job, it's not worth getting at all, but maybe you could convince me that this set could be worth $60. Maybe. But for me, the throne, it's not worth having if it looks like shit. And it literally does. It looks like a colon and some shit. It's not good. So, accessory-wise, we still have to do articulation? Crap. Okay, accessory-wise, including the throne, 0 out of 10. Including regular Marvel Legends accessories for a $30 price point, 7 out of 10. That'd be fine. 8 out of 10 if you count the interchangeable capes. All right, I'll leave the cloth on him for the articulation section just to be as fair as I possibly can, because that's what I do here. Okay, so giant head on the little body. How's it move around? Not for shit. I'm swearing a lot in this review. I'll have to edit that all out. Okay, so barely poses around. Like, what the frickin' heck? What the heck, guys? It just barely bobbles around on there. It's terrible. Alright, butterfly joint. You get a little bit. That's fine. For Marvel Legends, that's a good butterfly joint. Shoulders, they have to at least be normal shoulders, right? Yeah, okay, they work. That's good. Full rotation. By the way, Ryan said, do not hold back in your review just because you're borrowing it, which I wasn't going to do anyway, but that was nice of him. You guys are allowed to like things without thinking they're all the best thing and a good value. You can think, hey, you know what, we got ripped off, but I really wanted it, so I bought it anyway. That's fine. I know what collecting's like. It looks to me like his joint is rubbing against the socket, and you've got some discoloration in there. Is that happening on this side too? Yeah, maybe back here. Back here a little bit. So be careful with that, I guess. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention this. He's gummy as hell. Just like all other Marvel Legends. I mean, we've had worse, but he's pretty... The joints are stiff, but he's pretty gummy. Like, it's not a stiff figure, that's for sure. Alright, so the elbow joints, those are stiff. And they work nicely, so that's fine. And then the wrists... Swivel hinge, that's all standard. The torso joint. The sole torso joint, which I'm going to have another rant in a second, so get ready. Rant warning. Lean side to side, that's fine. I'd say that's a reasonable amount of lean side to side. Going back, it's alright. And going forward, basically 0. Almost none. So I'd say that would be fine if we had another ball peg down here. He doesn't have to do Spider-Man poses, that's okay. It's fine for itself. Down here, this is mind-boggling to me. In order to have the interchangeable loincloth, which, by the way, what is going on down there? Interchangeable loincloth apparently necessitated this situation here. What the... Why? Why? Why is it a square? The peg's round. Make the outer part round so that he can turn at the waist. At least. I know, a ball peg would have been just as easy to do and he'd have full range of motion. But at least if you're going to do a peg, make it round. There's no waist articulation for no reason on an $80 Marvel Legends figure. And since you can't separate him from the throne, I get to say this is an $80 Marvel Legends figure. The throne's an accessory. This is not acceptable. This is ridiculous. It should just be hollowed out a little bit, concave, put a ball socket down there, and let him pose around. Instead, they made it the worst possible thing they could have done. That's insane. Let's set that aside. No drop downs for the hips. They better go forward enough. Yeah, okay. They go all the way forward, so he'll be able to sit on the throne enough. Let's darken this up a little bit. So that's fine. And then going out to the side, we still go to only 45 degrees. They have not yet figured out how to do articulation. All right, thigh swivel is fine. Double jointed. I'm ranting in this video way more than I thought I was going to. I didn't think it was going to be as bad. All right, the proportioning is close enough. That's fine. And the knee works okay, so that's fine. You do get a boot swivel, so that's good. Ankles go all the way back. That's good, though they look really dopey. Like really, really dopey. Going forward, yeah, you can't easily get it over that little notch, so almost no range going forward, unless you heat it up maybe. And no toe joint. So $80 Marvel Legends figure, less than standard articulation. Ankle is really steep, but you can rotate that, and it's hidden, so that's fine. But good grief, the articulation on this guy is not exactly a saving grace. We're going to put this one back on for fun. I was just about to complain that they keyed this, but then I remembered he can't pose anyway. That loincloth is keyed. Okay, so yeah, that looks so much better. You know what? Let's do this for the end of the review. I'm trying to handle this gently since it's not mine. Normally I don't worry that much about Marvel Legends in the review. All right, here we go. So this way you guys at least get to see what I would do is pose him on your shelf like this, get rid of the throne, sell it, or just don't look at it. And at least this way the figure itself looks decent because the cloth looks not great. Although, frankly, this doesn't look good either. Why is the cape so windswept and this isn't? I didn't even realize that before. I take it all back. Everything's bad. I tried to be nice at the end and give it some slack. The shading sucks down here, and they're not windswept in the same way. So it just looks goofy, and it's not even windswept well. I give up. Okay, his articulation gets a 3 out of 10. The waist ruins it. The neck ruins it. The torso's not very good. The rest is average. Okay, time for the final verdict on this guy. If this was $60, I'd be a whole lot more generous. But even then, the figure itself sucks. I mean, not completely, but in enough ways that it's like, what the heck? If this was a $30 Marvel Legends figure released by itself, take away the cloth soft goods, so it's not anything special, okay? It's not good enough. The waist alone ruins it. The head can't pose. The head's the wrong color. The head's too big. There's just too many things wrong with it. For $80, this is insanity. Which I know, we are collectors, and some of you are going to buy this anyway for the character. I get it. My job is to review it. So, you don't have to defend the fact that it's a popular character, and that's why they're doing it. I know that's why they're doing it. They totally phoned it in because the people were going to eat this up. That's my whole point. All right, I'm going to give it an overall rating of for $80. I'll give you 2 ratings. For $80 as a bundle, this gets a 3 out of 10. If you want to try to say the figure is worth $35 and the throne is worth $45, I would give this a 6 out of 10. If this was a $35 figure without the throne, sure, 6 out of 10. But you can't buy it that way. So I'm not doing that. 3 out of 10 as a bundle. I think this is one of the worst things in terms of value that Hasbro has ever put out for Marvel Legends. By far. But that's it for me. So thanks again to Ryan, 3POA Podcast, for Laser Pants. I'll say everything in case, and I'll have his links down below too, in case you don't know who I'm talking about. Huge thanks to him for sending me this. I'm very happy to review it. Not happy that it was made though. Alright guys, so go check him out. I like the cut of his jib. I think you might also. And don't buy this. I'm telling you, please don't. Please don't. But if you do, let me know what you think about it. Alright, I'm done. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.